Destiny 2's newest raid is coming this weekend, and Apple cuts its App Store fee for smaller devs. All that and more, my name's Ethos, and these are your top 5 stories for this week's Free-to-Play Weekly. Coming in at number 5, it looks like at 10 a.m. Pacific time on November the 21st, Bungie will drop the next biggest raid in the Destiny 2. The Deep Stone Crypt raid takes players who have purchased the Beyond Light expansion to the frozen moon of Europa to face fresh challenges. Of course, the launch of this new raid also means the start of a new race to be the first to complete it, and Bungie has outlined what players will need to do to be one of the 6-people fire teams to participate. It goes without saying that these teams will need to have appropriate level gear, but other requirements as well. First, the contest mode will cap players at 20 power below each encounter for 24 hours. Artifact power will be disabled in the contest mode as well. Teams who participate should have at least 1,230 power, and those over that number will not see any additional benefits during the boss fight. If your team is good enough to finish the raid before 9 a.m. Pacific on December the 1st, you'll be granted the ability to purchase the Europa Ready Raid Jacket from the Bungie store. And moving in at number 4, Respawn Entertainment isn't just rushing out Apex Legends content, and that's good news for the health of the team. Just a few months ago after the game launched, executive producer Drew McCoy talked about the game's long-term goals, which included the desire to avoid crunch that can quickly lead to burnout or worse. That meant fewer or slower content updates. The sentiment was echoed in the AMA last week, where game director Chad Grenier responded to a rather salty request for more limited time game modes, saying, "You guys are scared and extremely slow with content." Grenier said that LTMs are popular for a couple of days and have severe fall off, so increasing them wasn't necessarily the right move. With regards to the speed of development, he had this to say: "We also refuse to crunch the team, so we'll probably be slower at making content than if we worked 15-hour days, but that's just something that we're not willing to do. We have nearly doubled our team size since launch to accommodate the content demand, so we're really trying to bring you quality content at a healthy pace." Despite the rather contentious replies to this, including one person calling him a liar, and this subreddit can be very toxic, Respawn must be, again, doing something right with Apex Legends, which EA has said is on pace to become a $1 billion a year franchise. And moving into story number 3, we have more Genshin Impact. With version 1.1 update, A New Star Approaches has finally arrived. As promised, the update adds 4 new playable characters, kicked off the second battle pass, and implemented several new features. And this week, the game's first seasonal event is underway. In addition to giving players a new reason to complete quests, level up, and acquire goodies, the game's reputation system looks to be a surefire way of figuring out what you may or may not have done, may or may not have already done. The reputation system is also how players will go about getting their handy-dandy gadgets that are going to make things like getting around and finding necessary items even easier. On a side note, the devs have also gifted players with some Preno gems for the downtime, as well as some issues they've discovered. So when you log in, you're going to get about 600 of them waiting for you. And moving into number 2, it looks like the League of Legends champion Seraphine isn't done with its fair share of fans and detractors since her launch earlier this year. She's gotten her own Twitter account with over 360,000 followers, where she, meaning whoever actually composes this account's tweets, takes on the role of a rookie member of League's pop star KDA Seraphine. Now, this isn't all pastels and pop stars though. Seraphine's meticulously crafted branding has been described as gross, especially as they relate to her mental state and Fox vulnerability, all in the name of convincing similarly minded young people to give money to Riot Games. Creepy and disingenuous as Seraphine may be, today's revelations may make the character even more problematic. A gamer named Stephanie has posted to her account of how she believes Seraphine is based off of her. Stephanie had a brief relationship with a Riot employee last year, whom she refers to as John. Now, John has shared a piece of lore internally at Riot that Stephanie had written without her permission and suggested that she would be good for a voice acting role, which she declined. But after the relationship ended, Stephanie said that she and John kept up with communications for a few months, but then drifted apart. She said that she hadn't thought about him for over a year, and then Seraphine hit, and then there was just way too many similarities between herself and the new champion for her to dismiss it as coincidence. These include a similar name and physical resemblance, similar styles between Stephanie and Seraphine's art. Poses with Seraphine's cat are very similar to photos that Stephanie took with her cat and sent to John. The timing of Seraphine's voice acting opportunity being in line with when Seraphine would have been in development. Stephanie's birthday, September the 19th, being the same date Seraphine worked with KDA. Stephanie's assertion that the lore she wrote greatly matches Seraphine's in-game lore and background, and other random and small details that Stephanie declined to provide at this time, but she will post them at some time. As of right now, it looks like she hired a lawyer and she seriously considered legal action. And MMO Bomb did reach out to Riot for a response on this story, and we did receive this response. Seraphim was individually created by Riot Games and was not based off of any individual, including Stephanie. Additionally, the former employee Stephanie is referring to left Riot more than a year ago and was in the department and role that had no input whatsoever into the creative design process. We take all claims of misappropriation seriously and immediately investigated her allegations after receiving a legal demand letter from her attorney last month. We confirmed that her claim of being the basis of Seraphim lacks merit, communicated this with her attorney, and invited him to further discuss the facts with us. We are still awaiting for a response. And finally, your number one story of this week, and probably the biggest, in vaguely Fortnite-related news, the App Store is about to get a lot cheaper for developers, smaller developers that is, which is unlikely to do Epic Games any good. Still, today's news that Apple will be halving its App Store fees from 30% to 15% for developers who make less than $1 million in annual net sales is probably the result of its ongoing lawsuit with Epic and was characterized as a olive branch by CNBC. The new policy will take place on January the 1st, 2021, and will apply to new developers. It's unlikely to have any significant impact on Apple's bottom line, like Epic has asserted, as CNBC reported that the top 1% of all app publishers generate 93% of the store's revenue. Apple made the case that changes will have a positive effect on the app's design for e-learning, which is more popular in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. As for Epic, it has made an estimated $1.2 billion from the App Store, so it would be just a little bit over the 1 million threshold if it was to return to the store. This small measure taken by Apple is also very unlikely to move the needle too much in its direction in regard to its current court case, but it could at least buy a droplet or two of public goodwill, which could still have value even if the court proceedings wind up going against Apple. And that moves us to the question of the week. Talking a little bit about Respawn and anti-crunch culture, let me know in the comment section below if you're cool with studios taking longer time to produce content for the sake of anti-crunch. Me personally, I'm always against crunching, especially when it comes to video games. These are people making video games and they deserve peace of mind when creating just simply entertainment products for us. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's it for this week's Free to Play Weekly. Don't forget to check out mmobomb.com for giveaways and the latest news. My name's Ethos, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, everyone.